Good morning. I'm picking up now with the second section of the book on Ruby Bridges. I have the distinct pleasure and honor of representing Jocelyn Anderson's lesson plan, and I hope that I can live up to her well-written plan. Earlier, we spoke and talked about the fact that many times there will be concepts presented in books, and there will be no words in the books to represent those concepts. For instance, early on, we learned that, and we saw in the artist's rendering, that disgruntled was shown on the faces of many of the white people who were against integration, and they wanted to keep segregation as a part of their communities. Now we have moved from being disgruntled into mob mentality, where we see people actually doing very threatening things by putting an African American doll in in a coffin, which you can imagine how Ruby Bridges must have felt when she saw that. Let's read on and see what else is going to happen in this wonderful book on Ruby Bridges going to school. Now, we see that we visited yesterday. The apple is the symbol of the American symbol of teaching. And we know that Ruby actually had a chance to go into a classroom, and her teacher's name was Mrs. Henry, and she is like all other first grade children. She loved her teacher. And basically, Ruby was in a classroom for a whole year by herself with her teacher. Anger rumbled throughout the city. Riots erupted. Erupted means they happened fast. Riots erupted and fires were lit to scare us. My grandparents lost the land they were renting, their farm. My father was fired from his job. I didn't feel like eating anymore, not even my mother's rice and catfish, not even cake. At night, instead of dreams, I had nightmares. My mother told me to pray even harder. We can see this artist's rendering of what her nightmares must have been like. It was hard, but we were not done and not alone. All of our neighbors checked on us, they protected us, and we received letters of support from all over the country. One letter made my mother cry. It was from Mrs. Eisenhower, the wife of the former President of the United States. The letter reminded us that we were courageous. Courageous means very brave. The letters reminded us that we were courageous and that we were not alone. The next day, I stopped in front of the angry crowd. I was not afraid. Later, Miss Henry asked me what I said to them. I prayed. Miss Henry smiled. I never forgot that smile. In time, the angry crowd grew smaller. I was finally allowed to join the rest of the children at recess, and recess is the time when children take a break outside, usually. I was finally allowed to join the rest of the children at recess. I asked a little boy if I could play with him, and he said no. His mother told him he could not play with me because I was black, only he used another word. And that's when I understood why people were so angry at a little girl going to school. I was black, but by the next school year, the police and the crowds were gone. Instead, there were lots of children, white and black. When I entered the classroom, a new teacher was waiting for us. "Where's Miss Henry?" I asked. Nobody answered me. My heart was broken. I had lost my teacher and my friend. It was as if nothing had happened, but I would never be the same. From that day forward, I would not only fight to go to school, I would fight for an education. I would fight for all black children to have the same opportunities as white children. I would hold my head high. I am Ruby Bridges. I would never be the same either. That night, I dreamed of Ruby Bridges. I dreamed of the painting my teacher shared at school. A little black girl in a white dress walking to school, surrounded by federal marshals and angry protesters, but all alone. Ruby no longer walked alone. I was right by her side, and instead of a sad gray wall, ugly words, and red stains, we were surrounded by beautiful trees, singing birds, and a blue sky. Ruby head high, and I. And this is the final note from the author. It talks a little bit about Ruby and about the painting that was the inspiration for this story. And here we see the black end pages. And with the final thought, we'll leave you with what was the author's message in writing this book. Thank you.